Off, you're going to want a rag to hold the line with, just in case grease gets on it. It'll get too slippery to hold. And also, if you get any excess grease on the vehicle, you want to make sure to wipe that off so it doesn't splatter all over the vehicle when it moves. Now, when you put a grease fitting on, you're going to want to put it straight on to get a good seal, or else it'll start leaking out the side. For example, it's leaking out the side, so it's not getting in there. And once you see the grease just coming on here a little bit, you're okay to stop, because it's moving that old grease out and the new grease is in there. If you get water in there though, you're gonna want to have all of that come out almost like you're flushing the grease boot, so you can get only good grease in there. And then same thing with these other sides. You want to look for ones that are hiding right here too, and a lot of the times they won't be this clean. They'll be covered in dirt and oil, and they'll hide from you. Make sure to catch it before it drips onto the floor too. Some bearings, or not bearings, some ball joints won't have grease fittings, but this one does because it was replaced at some point, which is good. When checking for greasable fittings and joints, don't forget to check your drive shaft to see if yours has a greasable U-joint. When greasing these properly, you'll want to see grease come out of all four corners, as you see in this one right here. Alright, so first off, we're going to want to put our thick rubber gloves on, because this stuff is not so great for your skin. Now what we're going to be washing here is this bigger bearing, the primary one, and the secondary bearing, the smaller one right here. Note that there is grease on here and you do want to clean this, but you don't want to clean this seal with solvents because it'll dry out this rubber and cause it to crack, which basically means it would be useless. So what we're going to do here is start soaking it, getting the bristles in there. Since I can't really move my hands too well on this glove, actually since I have these gloves on too, it's gonna be okay. We just want to work the bristles inside of these roller bearings to try to get all of the debris and grease, all of that out of there. Go from the top, do the same thing. This is actually going to take a pretty long time because the grease is compact in there and it's meant to stay in there. And what we'll do here is rotate it so we can see more grease coming out, which we can't right now because it looks like this bearing's pretty dry as it is. But when you normally rotate it, more grease is going to show up because it's grabbing it and bringing it to the surface. So you're going to want to roll it.
Like this, and then brush it along. Keep doing that. Keep repeating those steps. You want to make sure this bearing is super clean. After you think you've done a pretty good job of that, we'll set it aside. Start with the other one. Same step. Roll it a little bit. See if we can get any of that.
Alright, so now that we just cleaned them with solvent, it's going to be saturated in it, and like I said before, we don't want to leave all of that on there when we're adding the new grease. So what I'm going to do is do the best job I can do wiping the outside and rolling this along to get a lot of that excess solvent off. Now it's not going to get everything, and that's what the compressed air is for right here. So what we'll do first is, normally you're going to want a finer air gun than this because it's kind of just everywhere and you want it to be more directed, but this will work for what we're doing. So I'm going to take this and just...
See how I'm going in between these two shells right here, getting to the roller bearings. I'm blowing out the solvent. There's going to be a lot more on the outside now because we just got most of it on the inside out. It just kind of went everywhere. So we're going to wipe it down again. Take it again.
And that should be pretty good for this one. What you might want to do is just set it aside so we don't want to don't want to get it dirty on anything else. And now we're going to do the same thing to this bearing right here. Here we have our two bearings after cleaning them, checking them for stress marks, cracks, and blowing them out and drying them from the solvent. Now what we have here is multi-purpose grease. This is what we're going to use to load the bearings with grease. So what you first off are going to want to do is just take a good amount. Just make a nice glob on your hand. We're going to take the bearing right at the side of this, on the underside where it's open the most. Take an edge of grease and just start packing it down. Now this is going to take a while, but when you get it far enough packed in there, you'll see it coming out the top just like that. So you know that it's all the way greased through, but we gotta keep switching these sides right here because it's not greased over here. So we're just gonna keep repeating this step.
Take a corner, packing it in, and once we work our way all the way around, another section that's coming out the top, and turn it again. You can actually see the rollers moving inside too as the grease is being pushed up. It's important to come at this at an angle and pressure it down because that's what's going to force the grease up into it. But don't get confused, if you see grease down there, that might not mean that it's grease all the way through. It might be just the stuff that got touched on your hand, just on the top. So you want to just make sure you pack it down on that side again too, and then you'll look for the little beads that come off the top. And right now I'm actually seeing it moving.
And I can see it from all sides, so what I'm going to do is just wipe that down. The middle doesn't need to be that greasy. Just wipe the excess off. And we'll keep it on the cap for now. So now here, what we have, which is going to make your life a lot easier, is it basically automatically packs the grease into the bearing without having to do it in your palm, which if you have it, it's a lot easier, but you know, most shops, you know, this isn't that big of a necessity, so you can mostly just do it by hand. What we're going to start doing here is, notice we put the bearing in with the wide side open down, and then we centered it between the threads. After that, we're going to want to put this screw back on. It looks like a holiday spindle. Just tight enough so it keeps the bearing in place, but not too tight to the point where it ruins it. Now you'll notice this grease is a different color. It is black, but it does have a high temperature rating, pressure rating, and it's compatible with the other grease. So it's usable in this application. It's just a different color, which is okay. And as we're packing it in, it's going to come up from the bottom and slowly start filling through the rolling pins, or the roller bearing, and come out the top. Since we're using a manual pump greaser, there's a good chance that this is going to take a little bit longer. But you can start seeing it's coming out this side over here. If you look right here, it's starting to come out that side. Right?
We want it all the way around. So maybe we're going to try to reposition it a little bit. Move it over. Take it down again. Spin it. And down on this side. Sometimes you got to play with it a little bit just to get it perfect. But eventually, both sides will have grease coming out the bottom and top. Personally, I like packing the bearing in my
hand, but this is a good way to do it too. You'll notice it still missed some spots right here, so you just want to make sure you check that over before you actually put it back in the vehicle.